What's the word, y'all? It's here back again. Another morning. Chilling. West side of the one team. We're bringing y'all some early morning buzz. You know what I'm saying? Um, Hope y'all had a good weekend. Well, it's still Sunday, the weekend. You know what I'm saying? We just cutting up, giving y'all some of y'all can use. But like I said, we're gonna get right into this real quick. Just reading something real quick. Um, I was listening to something and it was kind of crazy. Just look at it. Somebody said he spent 40 years on the street doing real time. Being on the street doing real time is harder than jail time, he was saying, which I agree. I wonder what y'all think. And the reason why I called this morning buzz is because, a lot of people up in the morning not in their right mind. Some people sitting on their phone right now. Some people sitting there just not knowing what they're gonna do for the day. Some people figuring out what they're gonna do next week. But you just gotta figure it out. This is a quick live. This ain't my normal events on Sunday. Just just the jog. A lot of people need to jog. A lot of people need to work out. A lot of people don't know how to work out. A lot of people are embarrassed on watching people looking at them work out. Give me 1 second. Let me change up my headphone. I hear it echo. They don't make these electronic that they used to. Always something. But here we are. Like I said before, a lot of this stuff, a lot of these people, um, a lot of people don't even really know what's going on with themselves nowadays in life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even know too much about themselves. A lot of people don't really know too much about what's going on around them. And again, pardon me, I had to go change up mic and my headset real quick. Um, Shout out to everybody out there in AZ. Shout out to all my partners out there in Texas. Everybody here in California. But like I was saying, I was looking at this little video. A guy was saying he don't know what it is to describe what it's like to be in jail. He said, because I've been on the streets, for over 40 years doing free time, which is harder. And I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always said that before. How many times people brag about the time they've done in jail? Oh, that's what made me a man. I mean, you can ask this question amongst people, ask this question amongst people around you. Like, does that make you a man? Does jail make you a man? Um, some people felt it did back in the day. Some women even felt and bought into that rhetoric saying that I need me a real man, somebody that did some time, like it was crazy how a lot of people back in the urban areas thought that going to jail taught you structure. I think it enhanced the destruction in some people because you don't hear too many stories about people getting out and actually doing better for themselves. You hear stories of it, but you don't hear too many stories of it. So that's one thing a lot of people need to look forward to changing that talk, you know what I'm saying? Which you don't hear too much of now. And like I say, most of my talk comes from California. I've been around California, in California, born and raised in California. Spent a lot of time in Houston though. Spent a lot of time I want to say in Arkansas area, a little bit in Louisiana. So I got a chance to see different things and see how things come up and go about. But some people are not blessed to have that opportunity. And again, too, if somebody want to get traveling, put traveling in their life, this is something I encourage anybody to do. If you 18 right now and you got a license and you want to work, you got a pretty decent, clean background, go to an airport. Go see if Delta, United Airlines, American, companies like Envoy, Frontier, Southwest, these companies, Spirit, JetBlue, see if they're hiring. And part of a perk working for a major airline is the complimentary flying. So if you work for a major company, free flying is given to you, your spouse, your kids, and your parents. And they also allow you to bring a friend on with buddy passes or enroll a friend or some stuff like that. Some companies give that perk. So for people that want to fly, they probably thinking like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna get there. That's one way. Also, too, Halle Berry. A lot of people may have seen that she openly, you know, uh, took a jab at our Governor Gavin Newsom, and a lot of people was wondering why. It's a bill that was vetoed by Gavin Newsom. It's perimenopause and menopause related for women who's going through that, or all women living getting older goes through that. And this was a bill that would allow some medical needs or like coverage under health where they would cover that. But Gavin Newsom vetoed that. And I think my opinion, it was vetoed by him because he was thinking long term, like this is something that's going to cost the state. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's right, but this is what it looks like. Him saying like this is something that's going to cost the state millions and millions of dollars over years because this is something that every woman who's going to reach that age, who life lasts, nothing happens, sees that age, is going to need this kind of help. And if they don't have their own medical, we'll be fronting it. So I guess in his eyes, he made a business move, but at the same time, he October 2025, he signed a bill that would allow more protection for illegal immigrants here in California. Mean more protection for them at the workplace, more protection for them, kids at school, things like that. And speaking of school, LAUSD numbers are down 4% and steadily declining because of the Hispanic students, that aren't coming because the parents aren't bringing them to school. Um, that's a big impact on LAUSD. Some people remember back years ago, rest in peace to Terry Anderson. He was the host of a show over at KRLA 870, longtime activist here in South Los Angeles who really stood up for his people. Um, got to meet him a few times, spoke. I was young, real young. I wasn't I didn't even know what this was about. Like, tell you the truth, like wasn't woke to the fact of what was going on. But around that age, I did speak to him. I was playing soccer in LA, which was a predominantly Hispanic ran sport. And a lot of the people that know me, that played with me, I still conversate with some of them. That's why I tell people when I speak about stuff, I don't speak from hatred. Some of my best friends to this day are Mexican or El Salvadorian, mainly El Salvadorian. And we had great times. They'll tell you a lot of the stuff that went on playing soccer. I was a good player, not good. I was great, man. I could have shit went far. So just imagine being black playing in South Los Angeles and dominating these kids. You can imagine what their parents were saying on the sideline, and it sure wasn't hello, especially to a black kid. But I say that to say this, like when I speak about issues like this, like I've been a part of the issues that hurt the black community. And when I say it's hurt the black community, this is what I want to clear up to my Hispanic friends and the Hispanics out there, that black people aren't saying that, oh, Hispanics coming over here are attacking black folks. That's their goal. It's being done more than one ways, because our government doesn't give us the support that we need or we should have, because that is being diverted to help support a lot of others coming over here and not pinpointing this to the Hispanic community. California accounts for 50% of illegal immigrants coming into America, whether it's Asian, Hispanic, whatever. And so our governors here, especially our governor Gavin Newsom now, which him being that he just signed the bill to help protection of illegal immigrants more, further their protection here, so they won't be harassed. And it's like a money grab to me, because it's like, our local politicians want these people protected because the ones who are working are helping out the companies here that are keeping California going and are paying these taxes. So basically, you don't have workers to work the field. California don't get paid too, because company ain't gonna be able to send in that money. So that's why I tell people at the end of the day, it's a money grab. You got to pay attention to that. Um, what else would I say is that back to the schools, people have to look at that. As I was saying, Terry Anderson said it years ago. They were closing down schools, like over 25 years ago. They were closing down schools because well, maybe like close to 30 years ago. I want to say around, no, about 25 years, 2000, 2001. They were closing some schools down because of under enrollment in California. People weren't having many kids like that. Numbers were down, under enrollment. So they were shutting few schools down, which in a sense wasn't a bad thing, because I mean, you had so many damn schools that weren't being occupied. So what they would do is, instead of having this school with 400 students in this school with 400, and both schools are equipped to hold about 1,000, to shut one down and bring all those kids to this school, which was around the block. Teachers at this school move them there. Nobody loses a job. It's just a school site that's not occupied. But when you start having a large influx of illegal immigrants come over to California, and then they started having to, school the children, this is when the schools start filling back up. Because see, what some people don't realize, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, LAUSD doesn't care about race. They care about the students in the seat, because it's funding that they get for each student in the seat. This is what a lot of people don't get. It's not about them directly helping a certain race of people. It's about attendance, because they're going to get money for the what they say, all the butts in the seat. That's the goal they want to meet, because that's money. Like if you look on their site, they'll tell you every day, or I think weekly, what was the attendance rate for the week, and to say like 96 or 97%. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of higher now, because most of the kids they always used to say, oh, the black kids aren't going to school. The black kids do go to school. Like, like my children, they're in the LAUSD system, which a lot of people, kids are. LAUSD is the second largest district in the nation, behind New York, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you see it, you know, they use the black students. And that's one thing I don't like. They use the black students to their advantage. And what I mean by that is um, they use them for money to gain in defense of a school, saying that this is what's going on. We need money for this. This is what we need cash for to help protect the students, this, that, and that. Then they also say, "Oh, we need money for this black student program." But you just said you don't. You have a very low enrollment of black students there, but you're trying to get all this money, and it somehow gets diverted to another program, which is insane. And these programs to me are kind of crazy. It's contradicting because like they have some programs at certain schools that will send black students to like HBCUs so they can get used to seeing stuff like that because a lot of the schools here you don't really see a lot of black kids in the school. So you don't know that there are some colleges where people, not saying that it's better, but some people do want to learn their history more, and who rather than to learn more about your history than from people who resemble you, look like you at a school teaching you. Um, I mean, it's not racist to say. I mean, hell, let's be real. If you go to a Chinese restaurant, you know, and you have an authentic older Chinese chef, male or female, the food would taste more authentic. Not saying not all chefs are equipped to cook Chinese food, because if you're a trained chef, you can cook anything. I like cooking and I will vouch for that. But I'm saying, and this is why I say that too, me that I know how to cook very well, I want to go eat it authentic. If I'm going to a Mediterranean spot, somebody who's from that area or region, may being a chef, I would think they would know more about it. But just like somebody go to a soul food spot. Yeah, man, you got all people who can cook soul food, but I want Big Bertha back there cooking. You know what I'm saying? Um, Yeah, man, but that's something we got to look at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. But like I say, LAUSD on a 4% decline. Um, Halle Berry, she's talking bad about our governor, Gavin Newsom, which Gavin Newsom plans to run for president in 2028, if I'm not mistaken. Here in California, you have a lot of people running for that governor's position. I can't even remember the name. One name I do remember is a former superintendent of LAUSD, though, Austin Butner, and former mayor of Los Angeles, Antonio Villaraigosa, which some people feel, and I'm not sure. I don't think so. No, at this time, I think the top runner was a ex-sheriff or something like that, a sheriff out of one of these counties here. But my thing is we need somebody in there with an American thought process. And what I mean by that, think about your California citizens first. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian citizens here. Whether you came and became a citizen or you were born here. That's one thing I tell people about California. And I posted a picture on my social media, a picture of a house going for sale here in California for 500 grand. And that house looked like somebody's garage down south. And that's selling out here for 500,000. But I tell people, don't look at the house though. People have houses right now on a lot that can hold maybe a 10 to 12 unit apartment complex. They don't want your house, they want the lot. That's why I tell people be smart. A lot of people give up their little old rinky dink house they have and sell it and think they doing something big. Oh, I sold my house for 500 grand. Now I bought this nice house out here. Yeah, I'm just relaxing, man. Who now I can relax and rest. But you ever notice most of the people that move away from LA and get them a house and like I want to say a little farther out, Moreno Valley, go out to San Bernardino, Vegas, fucking, those Bakersfield, those places like that. Like I had to get away from that drama. Some people don't realize the drama that you need to get away from is brought on by that person. So wherever you go, that drama is going to be there. So you can't run from the drama. You just need to deal with the problems you have now. You know what I'm saying? And perfect example is if you're in LA and you got a nice amount of property, house is raggedy. Why don't you continue to work the money you're going to spend on a home? Why don't you remodel what you have there? Make that more livable, put more money into it, stay there a few more years. If you want to buy another home, money that you put into there, your house has been upgraded. So now you put a little more equity in it. You can get some money off of it, you know, refinance, go put that down on another house, rent one of them out and let that pay for that. I mean, some people say, "Hey, yeah, it sound easy." Tell you the truth, it really is that easy if you got the right person in your corner. If you went to real estate school, or if you know anything about housing, or you have somebody good that ain't gonna try to mess you over. And let's be real, I tell people like this: not everybody's out to f you over, but everybody in the real estate game is in to make money. So if you have a friend or something, let's be known, they're not going to do it for free. They will help you out to the fullest. They may not even ask you for nothing, just common courtesy. You know what I'm saying? People are in the business to make money. They didn't go to school in and all this shit to give you a freebie. You know, it's just like my boy Russ over there, Stringfellow Taylor and Associates. If y'all need him, y'all give him a call. Um, and they'll be there whenever you need them down there in Houston, Texas. Y'all just look them up, Stringfellow Taylor and Associates. Just Google them, Stringfellow Taylor and Associates. You know, they got an 888 number, 877-2779, I believe. Um, but a lot of people don't spend time in a profession to give you a freebie. It's just as simple as that. So you got to think about that. Get back to your morals. Stick to your morale. Um, don't get caught up in the hype. That just like social media hype, little shit that's going on now. People still talking about the Cardi B, Stefan Diggs baby, and Offset, blah blah, this and that. Like I say before, was Offset the model husband from the allegations? Cardi said no, but is Cardi winning because she went out and had a baby with a multi-million dollar NFL athlete that has multiple women pregnant now? No, that is stupidity at its best. And that's the stupidest stuff I've ever heard when you hear a woman clapping saying, "Oh, Cardi's winning. She laid down with a real man." Laid down. And that is the thing right there. That shit feels that is so crazy right now. There's so many women right now that's probably miserable in their marriage and relationship looking at Cardi saying, "Oh, they want to do something like that." No, y'all just want to get fucked by another man. That's all it is. Some people don't even realize that. Same thing, vice versa. A lot of these dudes around here hating their relationships. The woman be wondering why. Yeah, because he want to fuck somebody else. And that's why I tell people you need to grow up, get out of that, because some people are ready to throw away everything they built just to go put their thing in something else, or her to lay up on some other thing. And so crazy, 9 times out of 10 nowadays, the people that go out and mess with somebody out there, they going out messing with other married people or other, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of crazy. Like this world is going in the shitter, and people don't realize that if they not, dealing with infidelities, the homosexuality rate is high. You have all kind of things spiking. Drug use is high, which they should bring the dare officer back to schools. Say no to drugs. Dare to be clean. And I remember the dare officers, they wouldn't just talk to you about drugs. They would also talk to the young ladies there at the school, in the high school, junior high schools, about, being out in these streets. Bring back the dare officers. They don't have them no more. People forget about the dare officer. Uh the dare officer used to scare people. They used to be cool. A lot of people used to like when the dare officer came around, because when he was there, sometimes it was like a Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember his name. This was at Man Yards High School. We had a dare officer back in the day. Um, he would be real cool, speak to us and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy because we didn't realize he was a real police officer. We just thought, oh, he's a dare cop. But yeah, he was a real police officer, actually a veteran officer, just doing that because he didn't want to be patrolling the streets. Um, but yeah, bring back that dare officer, man. Again, I'm gonna say it, snap back in reality. Some people need to really snap back into reality. Some people have lost touch with themselves or sense, or some people just touching themselves too much. Go get your woman. Um, Stay aware of a lot of things that alter your mind. because a lot of things that alter your mind have you doing things you normally wouldn't do. And when you do things you normally wouldn't do, you're putting yourself in a position to indulge in perversion. And people indulging in perversion could be of both sexes, male and female. Um, Living your truth, whether you live in a crazy life, it sounds crazy to say living the truth in that. Um, you know, I heard a talk show the other day where these two guys got into it. I won't say the talk show because it was kind of controversial talk, and their stream got ended kind of short. But one of the segments they had where they were like four guys and two of them had went to jail. One of them was from the Nation of Islam, and I guess he when he was incarcerated, he was already a part of Islam, so he wasn't converted in jail. He already was part of that. He made a mistake and he did his time, paid his dues. He said he did 15 years, but he got into an argument with a man in there that he said he had seen in jail, not in the same, but I guess they passed through one time. But what he had said something that stuck out to me. He said, "Man, it's kind of crazy." He said, "You got a woman, right?" Yeah, I remember. From the conversation we had, you said you had a wife. He said, "Yeah." Um, and he said, "Now, how do you feel about this?" Because I'm pretty sure I don't know if he was mentioning talking about this guy or was indirectly talking about him. But he said, "How do you feel about this, man?" He said, "Like, ain't it kind of crazy these women? Like, what do you feel about these women out here that sit here and be waiting on men like you in jail?" You know what I'm saying? And the guy was like, "Man, a strong woman hold me down." He said, "Yeah, that is. You need a strong woman, especially if you're a stand-up guy in here." He said, I have met some stand-up guys in here. And what you know about stand-up guy, meaning guys who didn't indulge in that, the homosexuality, no fellatio, receiving, giving, or nothing, you know. So he was saying, but what about them guys that's in there that got women out there, being faithful, coming up here all the time, spending his time talking about their husband and all that. But as soon as she leave, he going back there getting, polished up by somebody. And I said, that's crazy. And I thought about it. I said, everybody know people in a situation like that. There's a lot of women right now sitting here waiting on the man to come home, you know what I'm saying? And really psyching herself out thinking that, oh man, I can't wait till you come home. Like, why do you think some of them dudes, when they get out, they hit it so hard when they be, racking they lady up be because a lot of them like damn, they didn't forgot what pussy felt like because they've been tearing up male guts. But you have to get back to your natural sense of morale, especially my ladies. There is nothing wrong with you waiting on a good man that's taking care of you and made a mistake. But some of you ladies is throwing away the best part of your life, waiting on somebody who's continuing to throw away their life. And vice versa. I know a few men waiting on women who can't stay out of jail. Real talk. Um, I always found that funny though. Women who are waiting on men to get out of jail and letting everything pass them by out there. Like I said, you even have like the movie True Lies. What's a true lie in a relationship? A true lie is a woman or man constantly cheating and pretending like they're not and living a fucking life like everything's peaches and cream. That's a movie. That's a true lie right there. You're lying to yourself that everything is all right. You lying to yourself about the fake truth. You know what I'm saying? How many people sit on social media every day? And it's okay. I was talking to my wife. She said women are sick. You know, we was watching this show on Tubi. It was some woman sitting there playing with herself, talking about her friend's man, talking about why is he with her? I get wetter than her. Why is he with her? You need to be with me. They never done anything, but she was just craving over her friend's man. And she was like, women do sick shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's probably some woman right now on social media looking at some guy, what I'm saying, playing with herself the whole time. Only thing they want to do is hit a send button for a message they probably got pre-written and won't do it. You're lying about some truth that ain't gonna happen right there, some of y'all. And some of y'all got to remember, y'all don't look like it did back when y'all was in high school. So y'all need to stop that bullshit on social media. You know what I'm saying? Some people stop thinking everybody living a certain life because you see it on social media. You see somebody living like they doing this and that. They always partying. They got bottles and shit like that. And man, some people so fucking full of drama. You know, it's families hating families. You got brothers and siblings and sisters that's beefing with each other like they some people off the street. But they'll get on social media and make it seem like we turning up all the time. You know, they should call Facebook the turn up book because all you hear about is the turn up and the problems that happen after a turn up. You'll hear about a beef that's so hectic, and 3 days later, the person that was beefing with somebody, they in the car with them, or they on social media with them talking about, yeah, this my bestie, or woo woo woo. And that's another thing. People have to learn how to express their anger. And what I mean by that is, it don't you don't express certain things overnight. You have to learn how to express your emotions, like love. Some people not born loving people. They have to know how to love a person. They get to know a person, you know what I'm saying? They court each other, date, work it out, they end up falling in love. You learn to develop these emotions and express them to people. Same thing with anger. A lot of men and women have to learn how to express that. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this before we get up out of here. Sunday mornings, 5:35 in the morning. Just a quick morning buzz for y'all. Um, Next, I'm gonna leave you with this. You gotta learn how to express your anger because, especially from your women to the men, making your man feel like he's nothing, disgusting. Whenever you're mad, make it seem like, oh, you it's so easy for you to get somebody else. That is not the way you express anger. Because if the only way you know how to express your anger towards a man is to make it seem like you could easily get another one and this one means nothing to you, why would you expect that man to go head over heels for you?